NBA players recently have been pretty vocal, Isaiah Thomas included, saying that he could be one of the best point guards in the league, and also saying that the win last night over the Rockets was their biggest win of the year. Do you agree with that?
I do. The Celtics needed that badly. For the Celtics right now, it's been an awful time to struggle. The Cavs can't get out of their own way. The Raptors have lost 5 in a row, and they can't seem to grab onto this 2 seed in the East from the Raptors because they're losing games that they shouldn't be losing. Losing to the Knicks at home. I mean, it's been kind of ugly for them. Losing to Washington the other night. It's been ugly for Boston, and it's been hard without Avery Bradley because their defense on the perimeter is an absolute sieve without Avery Bradley. Last night against the Rockets, a team struggling in their own right, but the Celtics brought it a little more on the defensive end of the floor and played a very good fourth quarter, stayed in a tight game. Listen, Isaiah Thomas has a lot to say, and I like him a lot as a player. He's had a terrific year and really ascended to being a star offensive player in this league. But notice I said star offensive player because without Avery Bradley on the floor, his defense is a huge problem for this team. With all that said, for Boston, the schedule is kind of friendly here going forward. With Toronto and Cleveland struggling, there's an opportunity for them if they can bear down a little bit. It wasn't, even though the Rockets are struggling, it was a very important win last night for them to gain a little ground and maybe pick up a little bit of momentum with those other 2 teams in front of them struggling as much as they are.
And what's going on with the Rockets losing that game? They've lost 6 of 10. Decker, Harden get into a shouting match. What's going on with that team?
You know, Sal, teams have scouted them up pretty good. And you saw it last Friday night against the Warriors in terms of how teams are defending them. Teams are trying to suck them into the mid-range. They'll guard the arc aggressively, and all of a sudden the Rockets aren't shooting the ball all that well from 3 anymore because teams are playing them much harder, and they're worrying about protecting the paint and the rim. They'll give them the shots that the Rockets don't want to take. And it's causing a lot of frustrations because the Rockets only know one way. This is how they play. This is the D'Antoni system. And there just hasn't been a lot of good adjustments for this group. They're hitting some adversity, and that's a big issue. The other thing is this, defensively, they're not a wonderful basketball team. They kind of played over their head for a while. But you put Montrezl Harrell on the floor, they find them. You put Sam Decker on the floor, the other team finds them. Their epidemic level of switching is making it easy for teams to dictate matchup against them. You combine those 2 things, and you have a struggling Houston Rockets team. And now with Blake Griffin back for the Clippers, the other night's loss in Philly notwithstanding, the Clippers can kind of keep this thing together until Paul comes back and maybe grab that 3 seed. No, by the way, the Utah Jazz look pretty good as a healthy team right now. Only 2 games back in the loss column on them. So it's a very interesting situation here with Houston. Not a wonderful time to collapse and not a lot of margin for error in a very competitive Western Conference.